Another day of stream, and here we are. We're just taking a look at the charts. London has opened, and it's been 30 minutes after London has opened. There is not much movement today. Anyway, price has not swept this liquidity here, so there's nothing for us today. On MNQ, same story. Price has not taken out this 15 minutes low. This was a key area. We were looking for a bullish trade from here if there was good reaction, but nothing has happened yet. So we are still waiting. If anything on the upside, I think this might be a decent liquidity. I'm not going to consider this. The sole reason being there is one immediately above it. So I'm not going to consider this one. I'll prioritize this as my major liquidity and the one above this as the uh, top liquidity above. So for a short trade, I'll look at how price reacts at this particular zone. If there is a strong displacement to the downside, we might consider entering. Otherwise, we do not. And to the upside, if I have to take a trade, I'm gonna wait until price sweeps this area. Price is moving quite slow, and I don't expect it to make any move now. It made a little bit of change to the background. I don't know how it's appearing on the screen, but I hope it's fine. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll dive into some bit of trading psychology today, as price is not giving us anything. Today, I was thinking of talking something about this beautiful function called introverted sensing. It's called SI. Yeah, this is the function. Okay, the easiest way, I'm going to tell you a stereotypical way to figure out an SI type. People who are dominant in introverted sensing. That is, people who have it at the first slot or second slot. You know what makes them stand apart? It's habits, it's routine, it's maintenance of what they do on a regular basis. They can somehow internally sense when their internal radar or let's say their alarm goes off. So these people have their own set routines every day, and it's very important for them to be in a good mood. Introverted sensing clo closely is very closely connected to memory and the person's historical past. So what happens is they can connect to what has happened in the past and store concrete details in memory based on what has happened, and they can pick up on it in the present moment. This is why their habit formation is insanely strong. The routines that they do, it's very important for them, and it gives them a stable set of, mindset and mood. These would be the guys whom you would see making coffee at the exact time of the morning every day. They would be washing their clothes every every alternate day at a fixed time. They wouldn't be forgetting to take their clothes after drying at the correct time before rain comes, and they would be the correct people to, plan. No, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily plan, but then if you want somebody to plan your day and for a longer period, like if you're planning to continue it for a month or so, these guys can set up your whole month based on a routine. They're excellent at creating routines and following it because it's effortless for them. Introverted sensing makes it much more effortless compared to some of the other types, like who are dominant in extroverted intuition, who chase stimuli every time. So, right, exactly opposite to extroverted intuitive types. These guys want stability. They don't want stimulation every now and then. What they want is stability. They look for safety. So they approach things from a routine, regular, same, similar perspective. They want past to repeat. They don't want something new and different. That just spreads havoc in their system. They want that safety net. They want that predictability and control. So these guys, I wouldn't say they're the best at adapting, but what they're really good at is continuing what they've been doing for some time. So that's why I said habit formation is one of their core strengths. You would have seen these people. They're very routine and their habits, So there are four types who will have SI at at their first function. I mean, as their first function or their second function. Now, ESTPs, sorry, my bad. ESTJs and ENTJs have it at the first slot. Sorry, my bad, second slot. EST, what am I doing? I'm being wrong here. ESTJs have it at the second slot, and ESFJs have it at the second slot. So ESTJs and ESFJs have SI at the second slot, while ISFJs and ISTJs have SI at the first slot. So ISFJs and ISTJs would be dominant in their routines, and if you have any ISFJ or ISTJ in your friends group, you would see that these guys they have really strong routine setup, habit setup. And ESTJs and ESFJs have it at the second slot, so they also have a fairly good, routine setup for their daily life. The beauty is how the function that is adjacent to it, behaves with it differently. For example, if you take an ESTJ and an ESFJ, although both of them have SI in their second slot, their first function is different. For ESTJ, it's TE, extroverted thinking at the first slot, while for an ESFJ, it's FE, extroverted feeling at the first slot. So it's very interesting how the first function or the adjacent function changes how the main function is played out. Introverted sensing at the second slot will be quite different from how it is in an ESTJ compared to an ESFJ because their first functions are different. So everything affects what is close to the other. That's the beauty of MBTA, and you will only be able to really understand how it is different and how it plays out in real life when you actually come across these types and observe them. For ESTJs, since their first function is TE, their routines would be very much focused on external objective logic. Their routines and habits that would be set up would be purely based on efficiency and getting things done. And what about ESFJs? For ESFJs, their SI or habits would be mainly based on, social harmony because FE or extroverted feeling is their first function. And so they prioritize their social relationships and friendships and being in harmony with everyone around them as their top priority. So all their routines would be based on this particular FE function. So they want to keep stability in their relationships. They don't like disharmony or fights or controversies or even competitiveness among their friends and loved ones. They want to keep that harmony. So that's how their essay plays out in their life. They'll be having routine, no checkups with friends or, maintaining their friendships and relationships at top quality is very important for them. And the same thing applies to ISFJs and ISTJs. ISFJs have SA at the top slot and FE at the second slot, and ISTJs have SA at the first slot and TE at the second slot. So same way how it plays out in ESTJs and ESFJs plays out the same way in ISTJs and ISFJs because they also have share the same function. It is just, you know, overturned. Whatever is first function for the first set is the second set function for the second set. That is the introverted category. Yeah, so it's pretty similar, but that's the beauty of it. How one function in the second slot changes the way another function is played out in the first slot. So if two people have extroverted thinking at the first slot, if their second slot function is different, how that TE plays out in their first slot is going to be completely different. So that's the beauty of it. The interconnection between functions is a whole big library to be studied. Yeah. Yeah, so SI is fascinating in that way. It's the beauty of how people form habits. So there was a video which I saw on YouTube where they said SI is about maintenance. And I liked that they used that word, maintenance, because in a way it is. In a way it is just keeping whatever you've been doing throughout your life intact for the rest of it. Keeping your habits as your top priority, your routines as your top priority. So it's basically maintenance. There's nothing new that comes in because of functions like, let's say, SC or any where you seek stimulation, but it's just being calm and composed and being content with whatever you have in your life. It's the function of stability, let's say. Yeah. So people who are high in SI, if something new or unpredictable happens in their life, it might actually derail them a bit and they might be a little uncomfortable and can comparatively panic faster compared to some of the, adaptable types. But what's the good thing? Other than these, once in a blue moon kind of unpredictable things, their life is generally calm because it's very predictable, it's very routine, and they know what's going to happen. So these kind of people enjoy being in their comfort space. They would usually have a comfort space where they love going back to, probably their own room or their own, you know, flat or apartment which they love to spend time with. So they have their own, ISFJs specifically, ISFJs and ISTJs love their me time as well. So because they're introverted facing, so they love it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the beauty of SI. I'm gonna dive in deep and probably release a mind series episode on introverted fencing later, like how I've released a regular upload about how ESTJs and INTPs perform in trading and who is probabilistically going to be more successful. So that was a nice video. I'm planning to make a mind series video like that on SI as well. In fact, I'm trying to make that on each cognitive function if possible. Yeah. Yeah, so that was about introverted sensing. It's completely different from extroverted sensing. Although both are sensing functions, what is different in extroverted sensing is that in extroverted sensing, you're trying to acquire information from the external world. You try to use your five senses. That is your sight, your sense of smell, your sense of touch, uh, and then your sense of taste and your sense of hearing. You're trying to use these five senses and acquire information from the external world. So you're very much in contact with the concrete reality in front of you. While at the same time, introverted sensing is actually about recalling whatever is in you already. Your past memory and historical information. You try to recall it using it's internal. Your mind does the work for it. And it's automatic. You don't even have to consciously recall it. Uh, it's it just happens intuitively. You recollect past memory and details, and your brain just pops it up in your brain. So it just pops up out of the blue moon. You can see I mean, when SI types dress, they generally have a very good dressing sense. But it's not SC type dressing sense. These people don't risk it much. They don't do flamboyant, and they are not comfortable with carrying just anything or pulling off anything. But what's beautiful about them is they have a style, a unique style, and it's very clearly evident on SI types. They'll have a safe, their own comfort wardrobe style, and they'll always stick with it. And they'll know that it has worked well in the past. And they're probably going to be looking at what has worked in the past and see, okay, this dress has been complemented well in the past. So I'm just going to go with these kind of dresses again and again. So they see what has worked in the past and try to repeat it. That's a typical SI signal. It's an SI trademark signature move to stick with what has worked in the past. Yeah, if you observe people around you, your friends, you'll be able to see how this function is working in them. SI, ISTJs, ISFJs, or ESTJs and ESFJs is very easy to notice when SI plays a role, and it's especially easy when it's their dominant function. So could be particularly more easier if they're ISTJs or ISFJs. Yeah, that was it for the MBTI bit. Now, if we come to trading, still see no movement, man. There's not much movement on NQ or either ES, so I think we'll end it for today. We'll probably continue with the trades on another day. I think that was good until it lasted. So we'll continue with the session later.